pretty excited. It looks like I'm actually here maybe about 30 seconds early or something here. That's got to be a brand new record here, especially considering that YouTube's always a little bit behind. But in any case, thank you everyone so much for watching. As always, right away, if you like these streams, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, share it with people so we can go ahead and get this stream out to as many people as possible so we can just expand the conversation, as they say. All right, so yeah, today I'm going to be talking about a bunch of the stuff that Intel has actually gone ahead and released now. I'm actually going to go ahead and make some in-depth videos about the new Intel GPU as well as the new Intel CPU as well. So like Alder Lake and the Intel GPU, what are they calling it again? The Alchemist, that's right, the Alchemist GPU as well. So I'll make some in-depth videos about those, but in this stream I kind of just want to talk about them in general, and of course I'll be answering a bunch of your guys' questions there too. So just go ahead, first of all, I'll just start off with some of those questions, and then we got Shrek in the chat right away. Shrek checking in, glad you're here, Shrek, always a classic in these streams. No one said Kenobi. How much of a monster? Like 3080 level? I don't think quite that level, but I can go ahead and like pull up some of the specs in a little bit if we do want to talk about it that in depth. We got another person in here, Osama Saidli. Thank you. He says hello. Thank you guys for dropping in the chat here. One guy says, Sapling Seed Sack Crew says, I sold my 1660 Super for 400 instead of 600, where I could have sold it around thinking I could buy 3060 Ti for 400, and I'm starting to regretting it now. Well, you know, good luck getting a 3060 Ti for 400 these days. It's pretty difficult, but if you got the chance, I would definitely say 3060 Ti, 400 bucks. That's a heck of a deal. It really definitely makes that 6600 XT look absolutely ridiculous. It's just a much better card. Let's see, do you know the release date of the Intel GPU? Yeah, it's Q1 of 2022. So I feel like probably maybe around January. That'd be nice, but it could be as late as like a couple months after that. Your streams are so tranquil, tuned in immediately. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can it be used for graphics work and 3D rendering instead of just gaming? Yeah, well, that's the whole point of these GPUs. They're kind of like general purpose computing devices. That's not, of course, the acronym. It is a graphics processing unit, but they're general compute type of, processors, so they can do basically anything. So yes, they will be able to do that. The question is how well. I don't know how good the drivers are going to be on launch, so that's a good question. We'll have to just see what happens there. Let's see. Kyle Wilson says, hey guys, this channel and this dude are awesome. First time I've caught a live stream, but I watch all his videos. Well, thank you so much for tuning into the live stream. Hopefully I can answer some of the questions that you might have on your mind. Let's see, how is the performance of the GPU? Expecting probably around 3070-ish. We'll have to wait and see. There's like a lot of stuff that we don't know because it really comes down to how good the drivers are at launch, and how easy it is to get their type of DLSS working in games. I think that could be definitely really interesting. Can you do a backflip? Here we go. We already got the backflip comments coming in. 4090 can do Tetris at 1 frame per second. You guys better start lining up for that 4090. That is wild. 1 frame per second in Tetris. That's crazy. Ryzen 3700X plus 3070 equals good combo. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good combo there. Do we know if Intel is using TSMC, yes or no, or do we not, or do we don't know? Actually, I believe they did recently say that yes, they are going to be using TSMC 6 nanometer. So it won't necessarily be as congested as 7 nanometer in theory, but it kind of depends on how they're, managing all their resources. So I'm not entirely sure how this is going to affect the supply. I think overall it is going to be hard for Intel to get like really, really strong supply from Intel, even if they are using a different node like 6 nanometer. But that said, I don't think it'll be as bad as if they suddenly jumped on 7 nanometer right now. So yeah, there is going to be some sort of constraint when it comes to their supply, but it's going to kind of come down to how much did Intel pay for TSMC, because if they paid a lot of money to TSMC, they could reserve a lot of space at their fabs. So it's something we don't know for sure, but it is definitely not as good as if they were using their own like Intel 7 nanometer or something like that. That would have been preferable, at least in my opinion. Let's see. MSRP, Alan says, I'm guessing the MSRP for their top-end GPU, I feel like maybe $400. Like if they come in at $400 and it actually it actually does end up outperforming, say, like the 3060 Ti, well, then at that point, you're getting a pretty good deal, especially if the drivers do end up being pretty decent. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, 400 would probably be like the max I would expect out of their top flagship GPU. If they do more than that, they're out of their minds. Maybe they could get away with 450. But if they're doing much more than 450, that's just a little ridiculous. So I don't see them doing that. I think they really do need to break into the GPU market, and they have to price their products accordingly, or that's not going to happen. Buying gaming laptop is worthy, ? Right now, if you can find a good price on one, it might be worth it. But the problem I have with gaming laptops is that, well, unfortunately, they're very difficult to upgrade. And on top of that, all these laptops, they tend to not be as high performance as you would expect them to be, considering the parts that they have, because of the thermal constraints. Can you do the intro thing live? Yeah, sure. Here we go. When does it release? Q1 of 2022. It's looking pretty good. I'm actually very excited. I'm going to start, so tomorrow I should have the first round of merch available on my channel. So if you want to support the channel, there should be merch up. I think I'm going to do it at a 10% discount for the first ones that go up. So most shirts would come in at $20. I don't know what I'm going to do with the mouse pads yet in terms of their price. I haven't figured that out yet. But the shirts, the first round will be 10% off. They'll be $18 because I'm not entirely sure how the shipping costs are going to work out for you guys. So I don't want it so that you end up paying more in shipping than you should. And I don't want you to end up at the end of the day spending more than $25 on the shirt in total. So we'll see what happens there. But I do want to make some some choo-choo train type of shirts for Intel's GPU, because we're starting the hype train, baby. We're getting on the hype train full steam ahead, because if Intel enters the ring, we got three GPU manufacturers now. Things could get very exciting in the near future. And we got a super chat coming in from Mark Nichols. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Super awesome. Thank you everyone who does super chats. And if you do a super chat during this live stream, as always, just keep in mind, just get a hold of me after the show, whether it be on Twitter or my email, and I'll get you a private link to the Discord, which, by the way, I am updating my Discord as well as my Patreon to make it a little bit easier for you guys. And he says, what is the most you would pay for a used 2070 Super or 2080 base SKU? This will be my next VR rig upgrade, and I'm hoping they drop to $400 by Christmas. Well, considering that the RTX 2080, it came in at $700 for the MSRP. And then now the 3070, if you could buy it at the MSRP, is $500 and performs as well as a 2080 Ti. In that case, I think for a 2080, the absolute most I could do would be $400, but realistically, I'd like it to be around $350 or less. For a 2070 Super, I'd say $350 or less for sure. It'd have to be $350 or less for sure for me to consider buying that GPU. If it's not around those price points, I would just ignore it, because realistically, that's just way too high for old technology. That's not going to be a good purchasing decision if it ends up being too expensive. But Bristifer just says, I just subbed to you. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing. By the way, if you are watching this and you're not subscribed for whatever reason, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, as well as if you are subscribed, make sure that you enable all notifications by hitting that bell icon and clicking enable all notifications, so you actually get a chance to see every video that I upload. All right, let's see. Get a 3070 at least if possible with the 5600X. I guess it depends on what resolution you're trying to play it. Let's see. Because, I mean, you could get by just fine with a 3060 with a 5600X, especially if you're doing like 1080p. Let's see. I heard there was a shortage of GPUs around 2017 to 2019. Can you tell me about that and what happened? I can't remember if it did start in 2017, but I do remember it being bad in 2018. It lasted, I want to say, like around like 3-4 months, it was really bad. It had knock-on effects for around 6 months, I'd like to say, but it was really bad for about 3 or 4 months from what I recall, because I remember going through this. 1080 Ti's went from around $650 to $700 all the way up to about $1,200, simply because people figured out they were good for mining. All the Radeon cards were stupid expensive. You couldn't buy any of them. But yeah, after 46 months, it was basically completely over. And so a lot of people were expecting that was going to happen this time around. Well, we're approaching an entire year from the release of the RTX 3080, which is, to be honest with you guys, yes, there were supply problems before mining really took off anyway, but as soon as mining took off, things really went downhill. So I'd say this is basically mostly a mining constrained issue. I know some people say, well, there's a lot more gamers and that's the problem. And to an extent, you're right. Yes, there's a lot more gamers. They're going to put a lot more demand on the supply. Of course, that's going to make it more difficult for you to get a card. But, for a whole year, despite the fact that there are some certain component shortages, I'd have to say that basically, if mining went away tomorrow, I think you could genuinely purchase any GPU at MSRP. I think it's seriously having that big of an effect on the supply. People underestimate it, in fact. I think it's like having a huge effect on the supply. So, yeah, if mining goes away here in the near future, which it sounds like it kind of is, then you'll be able to just buy everything MSRP or less. You'll be like that. So all of a sudden, they're all over eBay. You'll wake up the next day, and they'll just be filled, like listings upon listings on eBay. At the very least, all of a sudden, nobody will be buying the stuff that's sitting in stores. So, Dustin McCord says, yes, mining is jacking prices up. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. What is the current silicon market looking like? Well, if you're producing silicon, it's looking great because you're selling everything you can get, and you're selling it for insane prices. Let's see, which is a better deal, 1,000 watt 80 plus platinum Superflower 5-year warranty for $160 USD, or 1,250 watt 80 plus gold Cooler Master 10-year warranty for $230 USD. I think it depends on what you want. I think those are both good power supplies. If you want the extra wattage, go for the Cooler Master. They both look good to me. So to be honest with you, the 80 plus platinum might be a better deal, just because you're not only getting a better 80 plus rating, but on top of that, you're also getting it for a cheaper price. And are you really going to need the extra 250 watts? You might not, unless you're going for a 4090, in which case you might need that extra 250 watts, because those things are looking to draw a lot of power. What are good RGB fans? To be honest with you, I don't think there are any great RGB fans. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but realistically, Noctua fans are just absolutely insane. Let's see. Won't miners just start mining a new coin after Ethereum becomes proof of stake? Yeah, they will, but the problem is all of the other coins combined don't even come close to adding up to the total market cap of Ethereum. So if all of a sudden people go to these other coins, the difficulty curve is going to get so high that the profitability is going to go through the floor, making these coins not all that profitable to mine. So yes, mining will stick around, but it's not going to be anywhere near what it's like right now. It'll get to a point where they're going to stop buying GPUs. It won't make sense for them to buy GPUs. Let's see. My mom banned 4090. I've had a good experience with Fantex SK120 fans. All right. Yeah, I'll pay $250 for 2060 Super. That doesn't sound that bad, to be honest with you. But what does mining mean? It's like you use your GPU to mine. You basically authorize transactions is the easiest way I can explain it, and then you get paid for doing that. So that's what people are doing with their GPUs. Not all is caused by mining. The COVID pandemic. Yeah, I just said that earlier. There was a shortage for a little bit. I know they say there's still a shortage, but to be honest with you, I absolutely don't believe them. I think they're genuinely just not telling the truth. And the truth is demand is sky high. So yes, the pandemic did have there was a period of time where that definitely had a big effect. At this point, I don't think it's as severe as people are saying. It's basically just all way too much demand at this point. And where's that demand coming from? Mining. At this point, I really do think they could meet the demand of gamers if there was no mining at all. So that's realistically, that's what I believe is going on. Edgy Bloke says, haha, epic. Let's see. California hates power consumption. Bye-bye 4080, 4090. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That seems, maybe they will put like a restriction on that. If you're drawing, 500-600 watts out of that thing, that could be rough. What do you think about the new Fractal Torrent case? It actually looks pretty decent. But I wouldn't use it simply because, unfortunately, I just don't think it's big enough to, actually fit my parts. So there's that. Let's see. Look how many cards are being sold in China. Yeah, that's as soon as mining got banned in China, they were everywhere, just absolutely everywhere. We got Starboy Don't Care in the chat. He says, it's Saturday, baby. Yeah, it's Saturday. Time to do a stream, baby. Yeah. Woo! Saturday, baby. Yeah. Let's see. Intel GPU can mine? If not, that's great, right? I'm sure it can mine. It's a GPU. Yeah, baby. I bought an LG C1 to go along with my Xbox Series X, and I gotta say, gaming at 4K is serious. 1440p is great with my monitors, but gaming at 4K is so sick. Yeah, Kyle, honestly, 4K gaming, once you start doing it, it's like you can't get away from it. It's you can't go back. It's ridiculous. But the LG C1 is also just a fantastic display. I would say, like with 100% confidence, that the LG C1 is the best display on the market, period. So, like, if you want the best, that's it. Let's see. Edgy Bloke says, Saturday, baby, I deserve dads, baby, yeah. Let's see, 1440p equals sweet spot. It is, because it's a lot easier to hit. What's your main monitor? I'm using the LG C1 48-inch. So, there you go. And it's been the best display I've ever used. It's so crazy. It absolutely just destroys any other display that exists. Let's see, Evadas, I can't spell, I can't say it. Any news about DDR5? Yeah, DDR5, more and more people are making it. It sounds good. I'm going to be switching over to Alder Lake just so that I can play around with DDR5. So if you're interested in that, keep your eyes on the channel, because despite the fact that some of these videos don't do as well, like when I do reviews of products or if I do overclocking type of content, I do like to put them out every now and again when I can afford to, because even though it doesn't do as well, I just like to do them. So, views be damned at a certain point. Every once in a while, I got to put out a video like that. So I'll be doing that with DDR5. I'll be doing some content on DDR5. Let's see. I'm still holding my breath. If NVIDIA's CEO was AI, there's a big chance that weird gazing guy from the executive keynote is AI too. And we called it here first. All right. Will Alder Lake support DDR4? I believe it does. Edgy Bloke says Bombity in the chat. We're already getting started with the B meme. We're not even like 20 minutes into the stream. We're already starting with the B meme. Here we go. This is, yeah, baby. Saturday, baby. Yeah. Woo, 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 woo. Let's see. At least there'll be more competition with the graphics cards. Absolutely. That's why I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Guys, I gotta tell you, seriously, I'm so excited for Intel to enter the GPU market. I don't care if this thing draws 1,000 watts. We need something from another company to come in here and start challenging these two idiots who stand around and pretend to compete with each other, because frankly, I'm sick of it. Because they just, let's be honest, they don't even compete with each other. They really don't. So they just slot in right next to each other and keep raising the prices over and over. So right now, it's just a total duopoly. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, for me, the real sad part was when AMD came out with the 6600 XT. And people are like, well, it was going to sell for anything they listed anyway, so they might as well charge more. And I'm like, what? Why are you making excuses for the company? That makes no sense whatsoever. The 6600 XT makes me so mad, because here you have a company who claims to be for the customers. This is their big selling point. We're for the customers. We give you the best value. And when it comes down to it, what do? They be just as greedy, if not worse, than the other companies that they go against and constantly are trying to poke fun of for being greedy. The 6600 XT could have been sold at a reasonable MSRP on AMD.com with bot protection and trying to get it into the hands of gamers. But they didn't do it. You know why they didn't do it? Because they don't want to put the resources into doing that. And they want to make as much money as possible because they are a greedy company that's just as bad, if not worse, than NVIDIA or Intel these days. And so, you know what, AMD, if you want to behave like that, if you want to act like these big boys and you want to, be reaching out in my back pocket as you pretend to give me a hug and steal everything you can possibly get your hands on, then fine. I'm going to go ahead and treat you like NVIDIA and Intel now. No more, we're not giving you any of these underdog privileges anymore. You want to be in the big leagues? Go ahead, but that's how you're going to be treated from now on. Anytime you put out a product that isn't, if it has some sort of flaw, I'm going to be right on you, because if you're going to behave like this, then fine, I'll treat you like that, if that's what you want. So there we go. Yeah, the 6600 XT it's just such an absolute joke. It makes me so mad. Let's see. We already got the B meme going crazy in the chat here. Edgy Bloke says, it's Bidge Baser. Shrek's graphically balanced. That's hard to... Let's see. You won't die if you don't get a GPU. There's no one putting a weapon to your head. Yeah, well, exactly. So don't buy the 6600 XT. It's a stupid price. Don't buy it. And I see people trying to justify it online all the time, and it makes me so mad. They're finding different reasons to justify it and, talk about why AMD needs this money or why you should buy it anyway, even though it has, terrible memory bandwidth and this and that. There's always some new excuse as to why the 6600, it's not that bad. Yes, it's that bad. It sucks. It's horrible. It's almost $400 for a 1080p card. And recently, someone was trying to argue with me about how it's a great 1440p card. I'm like, yeah, it's a fine 1440p card, except you got to keep in mind with that horrible memory bandwidth and that really low infinity cache, I'm telling you, you're going to run into situations where it's just not going to feel great at 1440p. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it runs 1440p great, but from my personal anecdotal experience, which to be fair is with one 6700 XT, so it doesn't necessarily represent every single GPU AMD's ever made, but the 6700 XT is marketed as a 1440p card, and in my opinion, it's marketed as a 1440p card for a good reason. That reason is you try and play games at 4K, and my experience with the 6700 XT was that it had a lot worse frame times. All of a sudden, it was getting, a lot worse 1% lows. It was getting, a little bit of stutters here and there. It was feeling a lot more sluggish, even if the frame rate was higher. It just wasn't as consistent. So it just wasn't nearly as good of an experience as if you compared it to something like the 3070, which I've tested at 4K and felt much, much better. So I assume that you'd have the same experience with the 6600 XT. In some games, I'm sure it would be, just perfectly fine at 1440p. But some games, if it's making misses when it tries to go to that infinity cache and the cache isn't hitting, it's making misses, and it has to go out to that bandwidth, and that bandwidth is slow, going out to the memory, you're going to have problems with it. I have a feeling that if you got a 6600 XT, and you wanted to play 1440p high refresh rate, you'd end up running into situations where some games don't feel that great. But it's something that people don't talk about. All they do is they put up a chart with just the average frame rates, and that's it. They don't show the 1% lows. They don't talk about how it feels to play. They don't talk about the frame times themselves. So I really, if you're someone who's looking at a 1440p card, especially considering it's only 8 gigabytes as well, I hate to say this, but even the 3060, like if you could get it for less money than the 6600 XT, it might almost be a better option at 1440p, which is ridiculous because the 6600 XT outperforms it, but the 3060 has DLSS, and if the games you're going to play use DLSS, well, it turns out DLSS works better and looks better at the lower resolutions compared to FSR from AMD. So that combined with the 12 gigabytes of VRAM, in the long run, the 3060 might end up actually being the better purchase, at the very least, if you can get it for less than the 6600 XT. I wouldn't recommend it for the same price or higher, but if you can get for less, you might end up in the long run actually getting, like very similar, if not better performance in certain situations. In situations where if you exceed the VRAM or you need to run DLSS or FSR, well, the DLSS is going to look better on the 3060. So it's just, it's one of those, I think people are giving the 6600 XT too much credit. I think it's an embarrassing product from AMD. They should be ashamed of themselves, and they could have done so much better. They had the opportunity to make that card at reasonable MSRP and sell it on AMD.com. They chose not to because cash is king, baby. So that's what they want. They don't care about their customers. They care about cash. So, okay, fine, AMD. If that's how you want to do it, then fine. Now we're not gonna baby you anymore then, if that's how you're going to behave. Let's see. We got some questions in here that I missed. 3080 Ti, but price is too high unless Best Buy or Micro Center. Yeah, 3080 Ti is also way too high of a price, but it's up there in those super high-end cards. I don't like when the super high-end cards get very expensive. It's very annoying. It's frustrating for people, but what makes me even more frustrated is when the lower, the entry / mid-tier cards get way too expensive. That's really frustrating because that's where the vast majority of buyers are, so that has the biggest impact on people. So that's not cool. When will DDR5 become mainstream? The end of this year when Intel launches Alder Lake. So there you go. So yeah, DDR5 is coming, baby. Yeah, baby, it's Saturday. We're getting DDR5, baby. Yeah. Intel's going to be a billionaire. But aren't they like already a multi-billion-dollar company? Will DDR5 give me 800 FPS in Minecraft? Yes! Yes, it will! Woo-wee! DDR5, this comes from the top, baby. I got inside sources, and I can tell you with confidence that DDR5 will make you eggs in the morning, and it's going to turn your computer into it'll double whatever your specs are in your computer. 100% confirmed. You can quote me now. Go ahead. I'm a leaker now. There we go. I'm not going to call anyone out, but I've been noticing there's been some stuff popping up online. I'm like, you made that up. There's no, you made that up. There's been some real bogus leaks showing up online. It's careful with some of that stuff. But I'll tell you, if you watch my videos and I cover these leaks, I'll tell you if I think something's real or not. I'll give you the truth. So, all right, and we got Edgy Bloke. Oh yeah, baby, it's Saturday. Yeah, baby. The shortage could have been solved if people had some patience and less money to burn on cards, double their MSRP. Well, yeah, to an extent. Yeah, I think that if people would have... Well, no, actually, you're 100% right, because miners included, if they just wouldn't... Miners and gamers together, if they just stopped buying overpriced GPUs. There you go. What is DDR double data rate? Otherwise, it's basically a way of talking about the RAM. I'm seeing that someone just did a super chat. Oh, that actually came in first on my... Wow, that's usually late. Okay. We got a super chat coming in from Rob R. Thank you so much for the $2. And thank you to everyone who does super chats. Super, super awesome and helpful. He says, you think Intel GPU release is too late? I do. Honestly, better late than never. I'm excited we're getting it in first quarter. I know that there was rumors of it coming out at the end of this year. I very quickly came to the conclusion. I was like, there's no way that's happening. I'd love for it to happen. I always said they really need to get it out like now, but that just wasn't realistic, unfortunately. It's actually probably a good idea because by the time they release it, it probably won't be like as horrible in terms of shortages of components, especially at TSMC, where they're going to be fabbing these GPUs. So I think it's actually probably a good idea to launch it in Q1 of 2022, as well as it's going to give them more time to refine their drivers. So it's probably a really good time for them to launch. I'm just excited we're getting it, and we're getting it within, 6 to 9 months from now or something like that. So I'm just excited about that. I'm so excited. So yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, better late than never. DDR is Forma times East Germany. What are you talking about? Let's see. Kyle Wilson said something. What did he say? DDR stands for an acronym for alien subspecies. All right, we got another super chat. Thank you so much, guys, for this super chat. And thank you, Dustin McCord, for the $5. He says, thanks for the vids. Well, thanks for watching. And again, for the super chat, if you guys do a super chat, just get a hold of me after the show. I'll get you that link to the Discord. It's a wild and wacky time in the Discord. I'll tell you that much. Let's see. Do I need a 5800X/5900X for my 3080, or is my 5600X fine gaming at 1440p? Here's what I'll tell you. Technically, the 5900X is that, and the 5950X are the fastest gaming CPUs. It's mostly down to clock speed and having a little bit of extra cache. But the thing is, unless you're doing something that needs more cores, 6 cores is fine for now. As long as you got 6 cores and 12 threads, you're definitely good to go. I know there's an argument that the consoles have 8 cores, so therefore you should have 8 cores. It's nice. It's ideal to have 8 cores. Realistically, the consoles only have access to 7 of those cores for the actual gaming, for the gaming itself. So it's nice to have 8 cores. It'll help you future-proof in a way, but realistically, 6 cores and 12 threads are definitely fast enough to do anything you need for gaming. And on top of that, you got to keep in mind the 5600X is a generation ahead of the consoles, so it's actually so much faster that 6 cores on Ryzen 5000 is probably the total CPU performance, including cores, is probably about on par with 8 cores of a 3700X. So realistically, you don't really need more than that. Again, it's nice to have 8 cores, but you don't really need it, especially if you're not doing anything super intensive. Unless you're going unlimited FPS, who cares? Yeah. While Intel is another competitor for Big 2, I think they came way too late because if I'm not wrong, the next-gen GPUs will come out in a couple months later. Probably not. I don't think you'll see Q1 or Q2 releases from AMD or NVIDIA. I think Paul from Not an Apple Fan's right. I think you're going to see probably a September launch from NVIDIA. The only thing that would actually make them move their launch time up would be if AMD has something real fast and they're going to get it out faster than they thought they were going to. If it's going ahead of schedule, then NVIDIA might be well, we might want to try and beat them to the punch. So that could happen. Kyle Wilson says, do you have a Patreon? Yes, I do. I absolutely do have a Patreon. It's linked in all my videos, but if you want to look it up, it should just be graphically challenged on Patreon. I am going to, there's a couple issues with my Patreon right now. It's supposed to immediately, when you sign up, it's supposed to immediately get you into the Discord. That's not working at the moment. I'm going to fix it. So as soon as you join the Discord or the Patreon, I see it and I manually send you an invite. So that's the only issue with my Patreon right now. I'm going to fix it this week. I'm trying to fix it by tomorrow if I can. So let's see. BMOC888 says, do those soundproof foam tiles work? Just moved into a studio apartment complex and might put them up in my room so I don't disturb my neighbors while raging in COD. Actually, yes, they work really well, but keep this in mind. They work better for the acoustics and the sound that you get. So it works better for stopping echo in the room than it does as an actual sound dampener for other people. Now, it does help as a sound dampener to stop other people from hearing you. But its main point of existence is to help you get better audio quality, and for that it works fantastically. As soon as you get a lot of them around your room, you don't want to completely cover the room because you want some bounce to go around your room, but if you cover the majority of the room, you'll get a really fantastic sound out of it. So yes, it works really great. Let's see. LPX 16 gigabytes, DDR4 RAM, 3200 megahertz. Good. I found a deal for it. Should I get it? Well, what's the CAS latency on it? And what's the price? That's the question. Kyle Wilson says, I want to support you, brother. Let us know when you fix the Patreon issue, but I might join anyway. It's not really, you don't have to worry about it. As soon as you join, I'll just send you the invite. It just makes it a little bit more work on my end, really. So let's see. Let's see. It's to stop echo. Yeah. I'm trying to see. I forgot a couple people back here. In my country, India, things are messed up. In my opinion, is in the end, it will hurt PC market as I see people in my country moving to console as no GPU, 1660 selling for $600 and 3060 for $800. Yeah, NVIDIA and AMD really need to figure out how to stop miners from getting their hands on these cards and NVIDIA's been doing a better job recently, but because LHR actually works, it turns out, even though people are really pessimistic on it. At first, I was optimistic about LHR, and then I got a little pessimistic, and then I was like, wait, I was right. LHR worked. So it totally worked. So that's good, but they need to do something more than that, because they're seriously harming they're harming themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot by screwing this up. So they've got to figure something out. Like next time around, they can't have this happen. This can't happen again. So LHR sort of worked. It now provides about 70% performance. Actually, if you follow me on Twitter, which, by the way, shameless plug, you should follow me on Twitter. So that's in my About page, by the way. You can find my Twitter page. I actually did a test on the LHR unlocking. So with the 3070 Ti, before the LHR unlock, it was about 46 mega hash. That's at 150 watts. Really bad. That's high power draw, and it's it's an okay hash rate, but it's less than the 3070 at 117 watts. Well, in order to get the same amount of hash rate, actually a little bit less hash rate than the regular 3070 non-LHR. So like after applying the unlocker to the 3070 Ti, I was able to get just under a tuned 3070 at 117 watts, except it was a little over 200 watts out of the 3070 Ti. So if you don't care about your power at all, yeah, the LHR unlocker did unlock a little bit extra performance, but realistically, that power to hash rate that's happening there with the unlocker is actually even worse than the lockdown version of it. So that's, yeah, it didn't really bypass it in a way that's helpful. It draws just a bunch of power to do it. So yeah, the LHR works. It still works. Let's see. BMOC888 says, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Awesome. Thank you so much. He says, appreciate the answer, man. Love your channel too. Well, thank you. Let's see. I don't think Intel's going to hurt NVIDIA nearly as bad as they'll hurt AMD. The dual die AMD GPU will be amazing, but if they release another $400 GPU with 128-bit bus, they've sealed their fate. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think the only thing that's going to save AMD from looking like really stupid is if they can get their next-gen cards out faster than they were originally planning. Because if like Intel releases cards and then 4 months later AMD's releasing more cards, then it's going to make Intel look stupid. So I think AMD and NVIDIA really need to push for next generation right away, because it sounds like Intel's going to be trying to push out new GPUs every year and a half to try and catch up. So, and I think as time goes on, they will start to catch up. I don't think they'll like overtake NVIDIA in terms of flagship performance, but I think they can get up there with maybe an 80 class next time around. They can start to be maybe like 20% below instead of 30, 40% below. So I think they'll make their way up the stack as time goes on. Intel's a big company. They got a lot of people who can work on that. Let's see. Looking at Radeon WX 6600, 8 gigabytes is $700. Is that overpriced? Yeah, that's overpriced. Let's see. My 3080 101 mega hash is at 210 watts. Yeah. So like CPPC Tech 3070 Ti would be 56 mega hashes at about that same wattage, just over 200 watts. So which would you take, right? I mean, it's not even a question. So the LHR is definitely working, unless you're mining other coins on it. But realistically, guys, a lot less people do that than they say they do, because it's a lot easier to mine Ethereum. A lot easier. Let's see. Your information is out of date on 3080 Ti. I don't even know what you're talking. We're not even talking about a 3080 Ti, Ian. What's going on over there, bro? You're bugging. Let's see. Why does the 3070 Founders Edition have to use an ugly adapter? Because NVIDIA wants to push that, and I think the reason why they're pushing that new adapter is because I think they know their next-gen cards are going to draw a lot of power. Let's see. Oh, 3070 Ti too? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Ian. I have no idea what you're talking about. Uncle, HLR and CMP are still not betting practice on disabling. I have no idea what you're talking about, Mike. Guys, use the EVGA-Q. Just got a 3060 from it. Yeah, the only problem with that, David A., is that you have to have already been in the EVGA-Q. Because if you start now, it's going to be a long wait. It's going to be a real long wait. So, let's see. Good day from Perth, Western Australia. Wish I was in America. An MSI RTX 3060 Ventus 12 gigabyte costs a minimum of $800 here. ARG sucks on a pension. Oof, yeah. Yeah, that's expensive. Let's see. Are graphics card prices going down anytime soon? Yes. I promise you graphics card prices are going to go down. There's just, like, I guess I can't, like, promise, but it's going to happen. It'll happen. What's worse, crypto miners or Somali pirates? What kind of question is that? What the heck? Oh, let's see. I got a 3070 from EVGA-Q about 6 months after I signed up. Yeah, you got to be signed up a while ago. Why does the 3070 Ti exist? It should be a little less powerful than the 3080 like 3060 Ti is. The whole 3070 and Ti is a waste of value at this point. It exists because NVIDIA wanted to make more money off of the same GPU die. That's why it exists, to be completely honest with you. It's the same reason why the 6600 XT is $380. They just want more money. That's why. EVGA is still taking day one orders for the RTX 3060. Well, yes and no. If you choose the wrong card, if you choose the cheapest card, then yeah, you're basically never going to get it. So let's see. Miners aren't the reason there's a shortage. It's a silicon shortage. No, I'm going to disagree with you, man. Miners are like I'd say the overwhelming reason why there's a shortage right now. Like to be completely honest with you, if all miners in the whole world sold their GPUs right now, I'm pretty sure the shortage would just go away, like completely. I think they seriously add that much demand. Like they add so much demand. I'm guessing right now that they're like 50% of the demand for GPUs. 50%. That much. Imagine demand doubling. How can you make up for that? You can't. There's no way you can suddenly make up for double the demand. Explain console shortages. Well, the console shortages are easy. AMD's the only one making them, and they're splitting that silicon with their GPUs and CPUs as well. So yeah, AMD has a shortage of all their parts. But that doesn't have anything to do with NVIDIA. NVIDIA's on Samsung. So it's like and furthermore, you can buy CPUs. Why? So if you can buy CPUs, but you can't buy GPUs, what's going on there? It's because cryptocurrency miners are buying them. It's not hard to figure out. I mean, people were buying they're selling like lots of 70 GPUs on eBay. Come on. Let's see. Explain how everything's with the chip, not just them, bro. It's not mine, dude. It's 100%. It's like, I'm telling you guys, for the people who don't believe, I don't even know why you would say it's not miners. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, even if you're mining, would just own up to the fact that you're buying GPUs. Why are you? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Yeah, they're contributing to a huge amount to the demand, like an enormous amount. I'm telling you, they're probably doubled the demand. Seriously. Huge shortage of those too, dude. You could barely find 5800X and 5900X. Oh, you can find them everywhere now. Here, I'll prove it. Let me go to Newegg right now. Newegg. Let's look up 5800X. Oh, look at that. They're in stock and they're below their MSRP. They're $50 off now. They're actually a reasonable price, kind of. They're a little too expensive in my opinion, but $400. There you go. You can buy a 5800X. All right, let's check 5600X. So that one was kind of harder to find because it was... Oh, there we go. We got 5600X. Not only is it available, it's below its MSRP, so they're clearly not having any trouble getting those out the door. What about 5900X? The R9 5900X has been incredibly hard to find. Oh, what's that? It's available, and it's under its MSRP right now. What about 5950X? That one was the hardest one to get. I don't even know. I'm just checking right now. Oh, I just typed it in wrong. What am I doing? Jesus Christ. Here, let's... 5950X. Oh, what's that? It's available and under its MSRP. So, yeah. You can buy every single Intel CPU, you can buy every single Intel CPU and AMD CPU, and you can buy them for under their MSRP. They're easy to find. So no, there's not a silicon shortage going on right now. There's a demand problem with anything with the GPU inside of it, because there's so many people who wanted a next-gen there's so many people who want a game that AMD is having a hard time making enough, splitting it between their CPUs, their GPUs, and their consoles. But when it comes to why is every single GPU out of stock everywhere all the time, cryptocurrency miners, I'm telling you that right now. Yes, the pandemic had an effect, and it definitely is still having a minor effect now, but it had a huge effect for like probably a 4 month period there. The majority of that's done with. The shortages because of shipping issues, that's not really a huge problem anymore. Yes, shipping's a little more expensive now because they're shipping a lot of product. But realistically, why are GPUs out of stock everywhere? Miners. They're probably doubling demand. Like, and how are you going to make up for that? Currently, yes, but they're being scalped. It doesn't matter that they were hard to. Every single CPU launch, it's hard to find the CPUs for like a month or two. This has happened for years. What's unusual is things not being available for a year. Yes, when new products come out on the tech side, for whatever reason now, it's been a trend for like a couple of years where it might take you a couple weeks to find it, or it might take a month, or in a worst case, it might take you 2 months. But realistically, it's cryptocurrency mining it's created such a huge surplus of demand that these companies don't have any way of possibly making enough to suddenly double their output. They just can't do it. So there's the issue there. Like, they don't have a supply issue. They're getting a lot of supply. Seriously, they're cranking out GPUs at record rates, but they're being bought up at record rates, and it's not just from gamers. Gamers have increased as well, but miners, that's unusual. That's not something they could expect at all. Let's see. Worst part is miners will still try to be the heroes with the resale flood, but majority of these poor cards will be literally cooked. To be honest with you guys, I don't really have an issue with mined on GPUs. In a worst case scenario, you just need to kind of pull them apart and replace the thermal paste. Like, most of the people who are mining run it below their max power. Like, they run it like at 3070, you could run that thing at 270 watts. They'll be running them at 118 watts. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't be too worried about buying mined on cards on the used market. Like I said, worst case scenario, maybe the thermal paste needs replacing, but realistically, no, it's not going to really like hurt a GPU. To be honest with you, mining probably does less damage to a GPU than power cycling does. So, like, if you turn your computer on and off all the time, that would actually shorten the lifespan quicker than if you mine on it all day. Now, this guy does have a point. Snowcrust says fans worn out. Yeah, some GPUs that don't use good fans, some fans might stop working. That's a legitimate concern. But other than that, the actual silicon of the GPU, it's built to do that. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. So, did he talk about Intel GPUs yet? Yes, I did. Release date is Q1 2022. So there you go. Let's see. I'm a retailer and miners are not the problem. We increased the price by 30%. That's a good one. That's like, we're the problem. The retailers are the problem. I mean, that's just funny though. That's funny. Let's see. I want to reapply thermal paste on my GPU, but I don't know how or have any. It's not too hard. It's like thermal pasting on a CPU. You just gotta be a little more careful not to like drop something on the PCB. That's it. Let's see. Will mining end with the new hash policy at the end of the year? Like, it won't end, but it's going to be like way less profitable for people. So I wouldn't expect them to continue buying up your cards. So I would expect, even if they don't sell them all, which could happen, people could just liquidate all their cards, which would be awesome. But even if they don't do that, I would expect like suddenly demand's going to be, it'll be like, here's demand, boom, here's demand. And then all of a sudden, they'll be producing cards at a rate like here or something, and then all of a sudden be like, oh, we're over meeting demand. So that's what I expect to happen. I just don't see people, once EIP 3554 hits, especially once Proof of Stake hits, I just don't see people buying cards en masse for mining anymore. I'm sure there'll be some people who still buy cards for mining, but I just don't. I don't see it. I just don't see it happen anymore. I hope crypto crashes. Yeah, you and me. Let's see. No matter how long mining drops, one man in a pizza will always give the world a reason to cling on. What? My GPU stopped working after some time. What can I do? There's like, you can, if you're really good with solder and stuff, you can check and look over the board and see if anything blew up. If nothing blew up, really the only thing you can do if it completely stopped working is like throw it in the oven, which sounds weird, but you can seriously, there's videos on it. So look into that. We got another super chat coming in from TSM Space. Thank you so much for the $5. Thank you everyone so much for all the super chats tonight. Super helpful. And he says, some cards will fail and still be sold by miners. I don't trust miners, and they will know how to make sure their examples are the good ones. Here's the thing. If you buy something on a website like eBay, I mean, if they sell you a bad product, you can just contact eBay. You can report the seller, and they have a 100% money back guarantee. I have been scammed on eBay before, like 2-3 different times, where people just sent me non-working products. eBay, every time, it took them no time to just get me all my money back. So again, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Like, if you have the choice, let's say your choice is I can buy a new 3080 for $800, or I can buy a mined-on one for $500. Yes, you don't get the warranty, which is something you should really think about. But if it's that much cheaper, I'd probably recommend going with that mined-on GPU, to be honest with you. Let's see. Hey, do you upload your live streams on the channel after you're done live streaming? No, but I usually, if I remember to do this, I do usually post it in my Discord. So if you're in the Discord, you get access to it afterwards in case you can't, go through it. But the only way to get into the Discord would be through Patreon or Super Chat. So that's the best way to do that. Let's see. eBay is great about it. I got a bad Ryzen 7 with bent pins, took pictures and sent it. They refunded me the next day. Yeah, eBay's pretty quick to refund you. I've had decent. Yeah, eBay's on the buyer side 99% of the time. Yeah, they usually are on the buyer side. Let's see. CPPC Tech says, I've been mining on my 3080 since launch day. Guess what? Runs at 32C on Core and 70s for VRM at half the power, and it still runs just like new when I have. Yeah, typically what I've found is that, like, people who mine on cards, it doesn't really end up affecting the actual condition of the GPU whatsoever. Like that one guy said, in a worst case scenario, if you get an AIB card where they chose to use a really cheap fans, some of the fans might go out if it's constantly running at like really high RPMs, but that's about it. That's like the worst that would happen. And usually the fans are replaceable, so it's really shouldn't be too much of a concern. So in my opinion, if mine on cards hit the market at way cheaper prices, I'd be buying them all day. Let's see. If you have a 1050 already, 1050 Ti might not be that much better. Get an RX 580. Good luck getting an RX 580 right now. They're super expensive. Let's see. Seriously, is there anything I can do with a brand new 5600X where I broke like 5 of the pins off? Well, if you broke them off, unless you're really good at soldering, you might just want to RMA that thing. Just be like, yeah, it's broken. I mean, if they're completely broken off, yeah, you need to like RMA that thing. What kind of specs are we looking at in Intel's GPU? You guys want to actually hear the specs of Intel's GPU? Because they're published on videocards.com, which is honestly probably my favorite website for finding some of this stuff. Actually, I find most of the stuff on Twitter, actually. I follow certain people on Twitter. Every once in a while, people tell me stuff, too. I'll get, like, emails or whatever, but a lot of that good stuff just comes from Twitter, which is weird, but they actually just published it all on videocards.com. Let's see. Can I find it? Is it there? Intel Alder Lake 12900K RDNA 4. I can't believe we're talking about RDNA 4. I don't know if I need to talk about that. That's just so ridiculous. That's so far in the future. No, yeah, I'm not talking about that. That's just, it's getting stupid now. Intel Xe HPC Ponte Vecchio, that's not it. Where is it? Come on. Maybe it's on this article here. No, it's not. I'm going to track this down, but I do see that we got a super chat here, so I'm going to get to that first. All right, we got another super chat from TSM Space. Thank you so much for the $5. He says, just got another $5. I hope your predictions are good. I've been enjoying your videos. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for watching the videos. Again, just send me that message if you want to get a link. Let's see. CPPC Tech says next-gen Intel GPUs are going to be fun if and when hit. Yeah, I can't wait for next-gen Intel. Let's see. Or Intel GPUs, yeah. Come on, where is it? Intel graphics. Where is it? Let me just look up video cards. Intel GPU specs. Let's look that up. And let's go under news. I better just go to my Twitter because I liked it on Twitter. Gosh, I'm fat fingering stuff like crazy tonight. Let's pull this up. Let's pull it. Come on, baby. Yeah, baby. Let's go, baby. All right, likes. Here we go. Yeah, if you want some information, just look through the tweets I like, because that's where you'll find a lot of leaks. Let's see. Hardware specifications. Oh, this was 3dcenter.org. Okay, never mind. My bad. 3dcenter.org put it up. So yeah, it looks like if we compare Intel's GPUs to NVIDIA and AMD's, we can see raster engines 8. That doesn't really tell us anything. Let's skip past that. So FP32 clusters. Intel Z Graphics has 32. NVIDIA has 48. AMD has 40. That doesn't really tell you a lot either because they can do it differently. So now we move to FP32 units. Intel DG2512, 4096. NVIDIA GA104, 6144. And then AMD Navi 22, 2560. Now, despite the huge discrepancy between the GA104 and Navi 22's FP32 units, they do perform very similarly. NVIDIA's a little bit ahead, but they're very similar. So what I would expect is Intel to land in terms of IPC somewhere between NVIDIA and AMD. So I expect them to be a little bit closer to AMD in terms of IPC. They're probably right in the middle. So it's going to be like NVIDIA has the most shaders, the lowest IPC. AMD has the least shaders, the highest IPC. And Intel's is kind of in the middle there. And they'll be probably closer to that Navi 22 performance. Now, he's estimating 16 teraflops of FP32 performance compared to 12.4 on Navi 22 and 21.7 on GA104. But again, that doesn't necessarily translate directly into gaming performance there. So there's that. Let's see. Ray tracing units. This is kind of something interesting. 32 RT units on Intel, 48 on NVIDIA, 40 on Navi 22. My guess is Intel's going to have better ray tracing performance than AMD, but I don't think it's going to be quite as good as NVIDIA. TMUs, 256 TMUs on Intel, 192 TMUs on NVIDIA, 160 on AMD. So I think when it comes to the texture mapping units, Intel's going to have an advantage here, which is interesting. They have for basically tensor cores. They have 512 XMX cores. NVIDIA has 192 tensor cores. These are going to be similar type of AI capabilities there would be my guess. Let's see. ROPS, 128 on Intel, 96 on NVIDIA, 64 on AMD. So when it comes to the ROPS, that's going to give Intel an advantage. So this card may actually perform a little better than at 4K than its counterparts. Extra cache, 16 megabytes of smart cache allegedly on Intel's GPU, 96 megabytes of Infinity Cache on AMD. So I think this caching is going to help them with their bandwidth. So that should help. Memory interface, 256-bit, 256-bit on NVIDIA, and 192-bit on AMD because they have that massive cache on the 6700 XT. So yeah, I think this card's going to perform at 1080p, probably like 6700 XT levels, 3060 Ti. I think at 4K, though, we might be talking 3070, 3070 Ti. I think this thing's going to do well at 4K. That's just my opinion. So we'll see, though. That's interesting stuff there. So yeah, those specs are pretty interesting. They will release when I'm in Sovngarde. All right. Do you think low-end GPUs will be released this generation? Eventually. Probably after mining goes away. Cal, you gotta send that Intel back, or that CPU back in. Let's see. Hello, I have a quick question. Is a NVIDIA GeForce graphics card good for graphic designing? Yes, it is. As far as I'm aware, anyway. They're typically the best for workstation stuff. Let's see. If Intel doesn't use physical stores and email waiting list, the launch is not going to help anyone except scalpers. No, I don't think supply is going to be that bad Q1 of 2022. I really don't. Especially when you got a third person jumping in. I think it's going to be not too bad. Let's see. Are you ever going to do a setup tour? You guys asked me about this last time. I'll show you. This time I got the thing to fix my last LED. One of my LED headers that was going to the other one stopped working. So I got this. I bought it from Corsair so that I could fix the last LED, which is on my CPU cooler. But I'll show you guys my PC real quick in case you haven't seen it before. Let me just make sure. Okay. Yep. There. So here is my PC right there. So as you can see, in fact, I'll push this down just a little bit so you can get a better view. There we go. So if you can see there, I got two reservoirs. In fact, I'm going to take this off so you can see it a little bit better. There's the glass panel. Don't need that. So here's my PC. We got the GPU here, water cooled, of course. We got a giant. You know what? It's probably hard to see, so let me go ahead and up the. What is it? Up the exposure a little bit here. Hopefully that makes it. There we go. That makes it a lot easier to see. Okay. So, I got two pump reservoir combos. Don't really need them. It's overkill. I liked it. It looks cool. You know, makes them separate, makes them easier to upgrade. So that's why I did it. As you can see here, that's not lit up right now. That is what this is for. I'm going to fix that. Probably tonight or tomorrow. At this point, probably tomorrow. But as you can see, here's the reservoir for the CPU. It goes from here to the CPU block there, comes out, goes into this giant 420 millimeter radiator up top and exhaust. In the front here, I got this giant 480 millimeter. These are really thick radiators as well, by the way. This intakes to get the GPU the coolest air I can possibly get it. Again, water starts here, goes along this tube into the GPU. GPU heats it up, goes back through there into the radiator. Radiator cools it off, dumps the cool water right back into here. The whole cycle starts again. You can see that little knock to a fan on my RAM because I'm running 1.52 volts in my RAM. That will get hot, so you need to have a fan on it. So there you go. If you wanted to see that. Oh, I also have the EVGA new audio card right there. I do think it actually makes the audio sound cleaner and better. So I really like that. But there you go. That's the setup right now. Obviously, I can't show you like how I set up my camera because this is a different setup than when I make videos. So it wouldn't really apply. But there you go if you're curious. I recently just moved it up onto my desk. I had it below my desk for a while, but I kind of like having it here. So it's here to stay, baby. Yeah. What are you playing for games? Right now, I'm playing too many games at once. I need to like cut it down. I'm playing Divinity Original Sin 2 with a friend. I'm playing Apex Legends a lot, as always. I'm playing the Skyrim mod Enderal. I never got around to that, so I'm playing it now. It's actually pretty fun so far. I'm also playing... Gosh, I got way too much stuff going on. This is the problem. On the PS5, like, I don't even have time to play all these games. I seriously need to just do, like, one at a time. But on the PS5, I'm doing the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima. That's what it's called. And then I'm also slowly working on Pathfinder Kingmaker on the PC as well. So I got way too many games going on at once here. I'm like closing in on finishing up a couple of them so I can just like focus in on like 2 or 3, you know. Way too much going on at once. Delta Bravo says mining isn't going away. Might as well mine other altcoins once Ethereum goes proof of stake. Guys, please, I'm going to say this one more time. And please, pay attention. I don't mean to be like mean, but please, if you haven't heard this before, I don't want to say this again. So I'm going to say it one more time. Ethereum's market cap dwarfs every single other altcoin combined by a huge margin. So once Ethereum mining goes and everyone moves to these other altcoins and their difficulty curve goes up, it ain't going to be worth what it is now. You're not going to be making $4 a day mining with the 3070. It might drop to like $1 a day, which is still profitable, which is why I said, yes, mining will stick around. But you're not going to be seeing people going out and purchasing massive stores of GPUs to make $1 a day on them. That's silly. That's just ridiculous. So, and especially if the whole market drops down, then you'd be talking about making like 50 cents a day. I mean, that's this. I just don't see. Once Ethereum's done, it's basically done as far as I'm concerned. Unless suddenly out of nowhere some altcoin becomes worth a bunch of money, I don't see any signs pointing to that. It's a possibility, but I don't think it'll happen. So. Shrek is in here. Yeah, we got Shrek. So that means the time will come. The reckoning will come, as Papa John said. Is it better to buy an actual crypto than mine unless you have 100 plus GPU farm? At this point, I can't give you buying advice, but I'm no financial advisor, but all I would say is, considering how high the price is right now, personally, I'm not buying crypto. I used my main machine here to mine and my girlfriend's computer. When I wasn't using them, I started mining on them a couple months ago. I let that go, and I recently sold it all because I was like, hey, a few $100, not bad. So that's pretty nice. It's a huge waste of power, unfortunately. I don't like that aspect of it, but yeah, a few $100 is nice. It helps you pay for a little bit of your bills or something. But yeah, I was like, I don't believe this is going any higher. Just personally, I was like, yeah, I don't think so. What GPU does my girlfriend have? It constantly changes because her PC is basically like the test rig. It had a 6700 XT in there. It had a 3060 in there. I had a 2060 in there, I think, at one point. I had a 1660 in there. I had a 3070 Ti. Yeah, right now there's a 3070 Ti in there. So it's just kind of all over the place. It's just I'm constantly testing different GPUs in it. So it's like got a 5800. I just made sure to build it so that it could be like a test system. Let's see. You trying to sell that 2060 at MSRP? That 2060's gone, long gone. It's been gone. I did sell, I think at least one. I thought I sold a couple, but I did sell at least one 6700 XT, like for exactly its MSRP to someone on the Discord. That was nice. So I was able to help someone get something, but it's hard to get GPUs. Most of the cards I'm not using right now that I just talked about are in my friends' systems or like my family. So that's where those ended up. Having 6-phase or 8-phase VRM and 3060 Ti makes difference. If they're the same phase quality, then potentially. But it depends on like a lot of different factors. So phase count isn't everything. Do you think Intel GPU will have ray tracing? Yes, it does have ray tracing confirmed. So there you go. I just want like RX 500 series over 6 GB to be normal price again. Need to finish a budget build. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, but we've been going on for a little while here, so I'm going to get to a last couple questions here. If you have something super pressing you want to get in, now's your last chance. I'm going to be wrapping this stream up pretty soon here, so I'll answer a few more questions, then I got to get out of here. I still got to lift some weights because I didn't get to it earlier, and I really don't want to be doing it at like 11 o'clock, so... Is SLI still relevant? No, it is not, unfortunately. Will Intel be producing their GPUs in their own fab? Nope, unfortunately, it will be at TSMC, but it is 6 nanometer, and depending on how much they purchase from TSMC, it might not be a problem for them, but we'll see. Any word on Zen 3 Plus or 4? Zen 3 Plus, I would expect to see it end of the year to compete with Alder Lake Zen 4 next year. Let's see. When mining goes dead or less profitable, there will be a flood of used GPUs in the market. Maybe. If mining just becomes less profitable, these people might hang on to them. But you might see them flood the market. That could be awesome. Either way, that's way less demand. So it's gonna be huge either way. 6 cores or 8 cores for 1440p gaming. Just make sure they're good cores. 6 or 8 shouldn't matter too much if all you're doing is gaming. What is your other channel? I have another channel called Epic Funny Time. I haven't gotten around to uploading on in a while, but I'm gonna start uploading some stuff on there again soon. So. There you go. I picked up Asus Strix RTX 3080 Ti OC for MSRP and Newegg. Okay, well, nice. Thanks for the eBay idea with my broken 5600X. I'll look into your Patreon. Great channel. Well, yeah, thank you so much for considering that. Awesome. But I think if that's all we got, I'll go ahead and wrap this stream up. Thank you guys so much for watching. But yeah, I think it's time to go. I got to get moving on to doing a bunch of other stuff tonight. So thank you everyone so much for watching once again. And of course, I will see you in the next video.